All right. So this is the SEC Growth Data Science staff meeting for March 22nd, 2023. So Nate, looks like you've got the first thing to mention.
Yeah, sure. So Elia, who is our senior front-end engineer in the compliance group, has celebrated 4-year anniversary last week. So yeah, massive milestone.
Nice. Amr, you've got the next item?
Yeah, I wanted to just celebrate a feature that we recently finished rolling out completely and enabling by default with the release of 15.10. So that feature is automatically resolving SAS findings when rules are disabled. This has been a widely requested feature and something that has caused a lot of noise or piled up a lot of noise for our customers in terms of false positives. If basically without this feature, if we had disabled any rules, all of these findings would have just remained in a state that they would have to manually go in and resolve. So by introducing this, we provided a way for vulnerabilities to be resolved automatically. And one of the rules that we kind of coupled with this release was a very noisy rule called the detect object injection rule. And it's been our single biggest source of false positives across all of our languages in our scanners. So I think Connor listed some numbers here. It's been dismissed at least 452,000 times from ESLint and 273,000 times from SumGrid. So that just shows you how many times people have not cared about this rule or considered it noise. So we're happy to release this, disable the rule, and auto-resolved all those instances of that vulnerability with this last release.
That's great. It's really cool. I think we should announce more than just in that in your group channel, but maybe in what's happening at GitLab. Want to announce it or ask Connor to do so?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. And huge shout out to Lucas for shepherding the change along and getting it over the finish line.
Good stuff. The so under big rocks and hot issues, I want to mention that from Nick Wynn, just mentions that we're seeing some instability related to the database recently. For example, CPU spikes, partitioning large tables can be really important to improve scalability and availability. The database team is re-farming out the largest tables where actions required. Related issues have been added to the epic that's linked here, epic 6120. And respective groups have been reached out to. So if you got a ping, then you're on their list. And if not, you're not, but it's still worth taking a look. So it's also worth it. I don't think they identified owners or DRIs for all tables. So it's probably taking worth the list of the tables to see if one is one that maybe your team wants to take the DRI action on, DRI role on, if it's not known. So there's some more detail here, but good stuff to keep an eye on. Next item also happens to be for me. So please keep an eye on the Q1 OKR for talent assessment follow-up, where the manager and team members have an action plan, create an action plan discussed based on, have a discussion based on the feedback. So there was a review, there's a talent assessment, discuss it. Come up with a couple of things that are actions. Doesn't need to address everything, of course, in the talent assessment, but 2 to 3 things is usually a good measure. And we want to make sure we do this by the end of Q1, because that's the goal. And I'm behind on mine as well. So apologies to Mon and the VR team and Thomas and Phil that I have not done this with you all. So I'm behind on this myself. But Olivier, who couldn't make it today, has a question. Can somebody verbalize that?
Yeah, Olivier is basically asking for child OKRs related to it for easier management. Yeah,
it's a good point. We're dog fooding the first major release. I think it's the first major release of OKRs in GitLab. So it's a good idea. We're still figuring it out, but good point. I think we're planning to do it may make sense to have a table, a markdown table in the OKR.
Wayne, I feel like we had that. Phil was reviewing this with me and he updated it when he was sharing his screen. Don't we have something that already checks? I raised this recently when we were talking about 360 feedback 2 or so weeks ago. That's where this topic came up.
Yeah, I think it was either a 365 review or doing this. Or sorry, 360 review.
Yeah, exactly. That's the KR I was talking about. And there's the tabular form that shows your direct reports.
Do you have a link to that handy you can post on the agenda?
No, I think that begs the same question. Discoverability is hard.
Maybe Nate found it. I see you posted
Maybe.
something, Nate. Well, that's one with the roll drawdown. So yeah, it is hard to catch to track. We're also, this came up in Christopher's staff meeting, my boss's staff meeting too. Of can we get a report at Workday for this rather than trying to track it manually? And sort of we can. So, but good point. We will iteratively figure it out.
Sorry, talking over you. Yeah, it's Nate. That was the parent OKR, and there's a KR specific that has a table that has the senior managers listed.
Yeah.
Nice. So maybe that'll do it. I don't know. I like the checkboxes as well. We're using that on other KRs.
Are y'all enjoying using GitLab, the OKR portion of GitLab?
There are some nuances.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the roadmap, but I hope that there's more being developed for it.
Yeah, there's a feedback issue that you can keep adding to, and people are still adding to. So, and it's got a good roadmap.
I think what Neil said earlier about discoverability, that's proved to be a little challenging at times.
Remember to hit unmute. Yeah, there's definitely some challenges. It's you know, maybe a couple iterations past a minimal viable change, but you know, it's still early on. One is we don't have to use multiple tools. We're all in one tool where most people are inside GitLab, so we can link issues easily and epics, et cetera. But that doesn't mean that the other things aren't still challenges. They still are. But yeah, good points. On the read-only items, does anybody want to discuss them? Should we verbalize any of them or not really needed?
I think the item B might be worthy of a discussion. I know for apologies for security issues, we have a mandate where we backport 3 versions. And I think this extends to
You want to read through it, Neil? Just for the you want to verbalize?
I apologize. Yeah, that might
no
help.
Yeah.
Where did someone copied it? So Myra from our SRE team, I think that's her team. She's there's an initiative to extend our maintenance policy, similar to what we do for security issues, to extend that to functional, you know, changes that we've made, features or maintenance work, to the last 3 released GitLab versions. They're starting a pilot in 15.10. There's a issue that they're asking for feedback. There's also some AMAs scheduled. I think that may be in the past now for the AMAs, but you can look at the doc. And then, yeah, my question was, what does this actually mean? I know it's been an immense amount of overhead. I had a team member that was very much loved working on security fixes. They had a strong caveat that they needed to be backported. And so the preparation of all those MRs, it took so much effort and tracking, and it's not a couple days of effort. You're watching these MRs for like weeks and getting various levels of approval. I think there's an optimization that's being well thought out by her team, for Myra's team. But I'm wondering, like, what are the circumstances that we wanted to backport our work? Why is there a pivot where we're not just forward looking? Hey, you need this bug fix, get the upgrade to the next micro version or minimal version. I just don't know. If anyone has more context or examples, that'd be cool.
I wonder if it has anything to do with supporting federal business, as it seems like those institutions don't upgrade as quickly. Not sure where we are with FedRAMP in those types of customers, but I wonder if it has anything to do with that. And I'm assuming that's 3 major versions, so like we had to support 13, 14, and 15. Is that right, Neil?
I think it's
Um,
minor.
it's minor and it's including the current version. So I
Oh.
think it's 2 backports. If that makes any sense, I'm not sure it does.
That makes
yeah, it's minor,
way
not
more
major.
sense. Nice.
I'm just
Great.
taking notes on what I had mentioned.
That's good stuff. Thanks for
Sure.
bringing this one up, Neil. Good stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.